Are you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. It is Friday, and we have our Stories of Hope series today. And our first guest is here, Lenore Kantor. She is a transformational coach, author, mentor, career advisor, and inspirational speaker who guides smart high achievers to greater personal growth, professional fulfillment, and higher income by overcoming their blocks to creating soul-aligned work. She is the author of So, What Do You Do? The Authentic Alchemy Path to Find Who You Are, an unconventional guidebook and 8-step path for conscious leaders to discover their work in the world. Lenore's holistic, multidisciplinary approach evolved over 30 years as a former corporate marketing executive, soulpreneur, and founder of Growth Warrior. She combines empathy with no BS business strategy, marketing, and product launch expertise with intuitive insight and multiple healing modalities. Lenore has been a strategic advisor and outsourced CMO to high growth businesses, mentored founders across multiple startup accelerators, and is a capstone and career advisor to Bard's MBA in sustainability and part of Columbia's career coaching network. Welcome to the show today, Lenore.
So good to be here, Cornelia. Thank you.
You've been a busy girl over the last 30 years.
Yes, I have. Haven't we all?
Yes. And so you've developed quite a body of work. And so do you feel that this line of work that you are doing now you will be doing this in many years to come?
That's such a wonderful question. I really have had a number of career pivots from being a corporate marketing executive to starting my own business, where I initially focused on outsourced consulting and strategy work, but I was always doing the coaching alongside of that. And about 2 years ago, I decided to really focus on working with conscious leaders. And that was a change in direction. And then when I decided to publish the book, I found the passion for writing. So I really see myself doing much more of the writing and the coaching side by side.
Yeah, the writing. So you discovered that you were a writer, you were good at it, you liked it. And so then, that side, that creativity started expanding. And when we're looking at, at where we are right now as far as age-wise, and how the world is changing so much with we're living longer. Many people are not retiring at the age of what we were trained and conditioned in the old. I always talk about it from old earth, new earth.
Yes.
The old way, in the old earth, we were trained and conditioned to retire, at 65 or 62, whatever. And it's different now. And so I'm even looking at, my whole thing. How do I want to live the next 30 years of my life? How do I want to? I don't want to retire and sit on a couch.
Yes, absolutely not. It's funny. I do have a whole section of my book about age and stage because I do feel that where people are at and what is motivating them is going to be a function of so many personal variables when you're in a relationship versus not. Do you have a family and obligations? Do you have more freedom and flexibility? And then I think there is something, as you mentioned, about being in this later stage when you've accumulated so much wisdom, there's an opportunity to share that and really think about what is the legacy that you want to make and how can you live your life in alignment with what you care most about. And I think when you reach a certain point, you really do stop caring about what other people think the way maybe you do when you're younger, where you're always looking outside yourself and comparing and competing. And you realize, yeah, now is my time to focus on what matters most to me. And there's really an opportunity to give back and share all of the accumulated experiences and wisdom that you've gained.
I love how you thought about, and obviously you have a section in your book because that's what you said, but you thought about it about, it's going to be different for different people, whether they have other obligations, family, if you're a single person, if you're in a relationship, all these things matter because it matters about how you live your daily life. And in the new earth, we're doing it differently than we did in the old earth because in the old earth, everything was built on work ethic, working 12
Yes.
hours a day, 10 hours a day, and proving your worth.
Yeah, I talk a lot about, I think that the old model was very production oriented and it was about your value and performance. How much can you produce? How much do you earn? What do you do? Very external, superficial. And that really overlooks the entire internal aspect, which is the very personal. Well, what do you care about? Why are you doing this? So it's a shift to values from your actual value. It's like the difference between what is qualitative and truly meaningful versus, okay, what can we measure? Because I think that those old metrics are wrong, right? I mean, obviously, there's value in measuring certain things, but then we become widgets, right? If you think about that production culture, it's like how fast, how much, and that really overlooks the value that we bring from all of our unique experiences that is so much deeper and more meaningful.
You said it, the old way was about production, producing, how much can you produce, right? The new is about creativity.
Yes,
It is about, right, it's about creativity. How do you want to create? I mean, and that creation model can be expressed, defined in so many ways because ultimately we are the creators of our lives depending on where you want to start with that definition,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so there's a lot to it. How is it that you help people today with your new book, with your coaching? How does that work?
Yeah, really, I what I've learned is my old model used to be people would come and want me to tell them the strategy. And as much as I enjoyed being the expert, the truth is my telling people what to do is not all that satisfying, particularly since they don't often do it, right? They do what they want. So really my goal is to help people uncover within themselves what it is that's true for them. And so I help people connect in with what is their inner knowing? What are the voices, the intuition, really that embodied sense of what they are meant to be doing and what do they care about? And how can we eliminate all the things that are blocking them from listening to that voice, that sense of knowing? Because the truth is, I think people do know what they want to do and how they want to be, but they're afraid, or they've got other people's voices coming in and preventing them from knowing what's true. So that's really my desire, is to guide conscious leaders to really step into their power because, as you said, we need them. We need those individuals who really care about the earth, care about community, and want to do the right thing for the planet. And that's really my vision, is to help empower as many of those people as possible to really stop fooling around, right? And kind of step up because we got to do it quickly, you know?
Yeah, I think that, in this year, we really don't have a choice. In this year, we're all being called to get off the fence and, choose.
Yeah.
Which one? Fear or love? Which one?
Yeah.
Which one do you want to play in? Because at this point in time, we are all being called to choose and to create and be in our leadership, be in our authority, be engaged in the co-creation of the new. Because hello, I mean, we really need to come together and create it with people being on board. And so that's what you're helping people to do. And also to be able to know what it is that they want to do, and then also set up a structure and create an income around that. That's what you help people with.
Yes. And I would say, I think what you've highlighted is so important. I talk about conscious choice a lot. We always, in every moment, get to decide what stories do we want to believe? What is the way that we want to show up? Do we want to do the work? And, the truth is, it's hard. It's hard to change. It's hard to face our challenges. But the opportunity is when we do step into that, we can transform it and really move beyond so that we take more control when we're in a time of uncertainty, which I think is incredibly empowering.
And when you say the word uncertain, the whole piece about the where we're going is everything is uncertain. And I
Yeah,
think, the best thing that we can do at this point in time is to be okay to be uncomfortable
yeah.
in the uncertainty because it is. And, growth never happens in the comfort zone.
Yes. And I think there's something about when you really know yourself and are centered in your own truth, you are so much more stable and resilient because you have that inner strength and really focus on what is important to you. And I think the more people can align with what is authentically theirs, they're going to be able to show up in different ways and be able to make the choices that we were talking about earlier.
So do you have a client preference as far as age, or who is your client? Who is your person that is coming to you?
It's very funny. So I came out of the corporate financial world. I specifically named my business Growth Warrior because I had worked in a very masculine oriented environment. But the truth is, I work with everyone. I think the common denominators are people who are smart, high achievers. They know they want to step into their next level of growth and they're willing to do the work. And that's really the key is not everybody really is ready to take the action to face their fears, to really go to their growing edge in order to learn what they need to move beyond. I would say I have an energy medicine and shamanic healing training as well. So I am finding more and more I love working with clients that are open to that possibility of really exploring what's going on, not just in this life, but ancestral past life. Like it can go so deep, and that's really the clients that I love to engage with.
It's the bottom line, from what I hear you saying, is the ones that are ready to up level and the ones that are ready to do the work. Because really, truly, it's not easy. And I
No,
don't think that whatever we're going through this year and how we're moving through this time in this uncertainty, that it's going to be easy. It's going to be tough. It's how we approach the toughness. That's how I'm looking at it. I'm going, I want to approach it with ease because I know that things are going to be tough.
that's right. And I do think that we can find the joy when we reframe it from struggle to the growth mindset, because really once we can face it and sit in the discomfort, I've seen clients realize once they've been able to withstand it, it's like, oh, I can't go back now. I had a taste of what my possible future could be like. I need to keep moving towards it, even though it was hard for me to, address this thing I've been avoiding or, not ready to deal with. With support, it's possible to move through it.
I think now more than ever, coaches are needed, healers are needed, mentors are needed. We need that because we need the support. Somebody that's holding you up to that highest level until you can reach it yourself, right? Until you can believe in it yourself. I want to be able to show the audience that beautiful book that you showed me before we went live.
Yes, I'll just hold it up. So there is a companion workbook, and I guide people through the 8-step authentic alchemy path. And yeah, I would really love anyone who is interested in learning more. I really designed it as a bit of a self-help manual with 3 levels: the practical, the transformational, healing through the chakras, and then the hero's journey based on the tarot cards, helping people understand there are no bad choices. Everything that has happened to you, you can weave it and translate it into the beautiful tapestry that can help you move forward.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Hold it up one more time. And while you're holding it up, I'm going to go ahead and speak. Can you speak one more time?
Yes. So it's um so
It's,
what do you do, the authentic alchemy path to find who you are? This is my proof copy. So
yeah.
it's a little line across the middle, but yeah,
Yeah, that's beautiful. Is that available on Amazon?
that will be available on Amazon. There's an ebook, there's a printed book, and there's a companion workbook.
Wow, that's awesome work. That's really great. I love how you broke that down and how an emerging writer now is has emerged through this next phase in your life. I want to let the audience know also how they can look you up on social media. Do you hang out anywhere in particular?
Yeah, the best place to find me. So my website is growthwarrior.co. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, Lenore Kantor, and my Instagram is also Lenore Kantor, Kantor. So yeah, would love to connect with people. I'm learning that as a new writer, it's important to build a connection with people, and I'm happy to share more. I'm going to be expanding my YouTube channel as well, which is Growth Warrior Ltd.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great brand. The Warrior brand, growing Warrior brand. Now that you're in the book, I discovered, learned when I published a book that, now after I wrote the book and published the book, now I'm in the book selling business. And
Yes.
yeah, I found that out. I didn't realize that at first. So it's so many things that we learn, and we keep learning, we keep growing, we keep evolving, and we keep making the world a better place. How do we want to leave the world for this generation and the next generation so that in 100 years from now, it's better than what we found it in?
Yeah, I love that. What do you want to be known for? To me, that's a very important question.
Yeah, it was wonderful talking to you.
You too, Cornelia. Such a pleasure.
Thank you so much. We're going to take a break on the Kornelia Stephanie Show. We'll be right back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into the Kornelia Stephanie Show. We have our next guest, and I want to just tell you guys right away, like, talk about a story of hope. Okay. So here is Naseem Rochette. She is definitely a force of nature, and she is blending resilience, intellect, and compassion. As the best-selling award-winning author of The Unexpected Benefits of Being Run Over by a Car, she has captivated audiences with her extraordinary story of survival and transformation. In May of 2018, her journey took a dramatic turn when she was hit and run over by a car 3 times, resulting in life-altering changes, most notably a dramatic brain injury. This harrowing experience forced her to redefine her understanding of strength and resilience. Through her recovery, Naseem discovered a profound inner strength that has transformed her into an even more effective leader, colleague, and human being. There's so much more to say, but I'm going to sum it up here by saying Naseem's unique ability to turn adversity into opportunity sets her apart. She leads corporate presentations that weave together compelling narratives, leadership insights, and her powerful personal story, guiding teams towards authenticity, vulnerability, and a positive outlook on life and work. Her unparalleled journey and unwavering spirit make her a truly remarkable and inspiring figure. Welcome to the show today, Naseem Rochette.
Ah, thanks so much for having me.
Wow. So, yeah, like your hat says, you are unbreakable. And so prior to that event in 2018, you were already inspiring and business and leadership, right? You were already in that.
Yeah, I was, yes, I actually prided myself, on being a strong woman, working full time, raising three kids, kind of juggling it all and making it look easy. Not that
Okay.
it was easy.
No, no, but you were doing it and it was looking like you were doing great. Everything was looking good and juggling all the balls. And then 2018, take us back to that day. What happened?
Yeah, actually, so, I woke up that morning feeling actually extra good, like that powerhouse. And, that beautiful day, had a great day. And that afternoon, as I was coming home from work, my husband was picking me up. I was crossing in a pedestrian crosswalk when a car turned and hit me. Now, Cornelia, when the car first hit me, it stopped and I was standing and I thought, okay, this stinks, but I'm having a great day. Life is okay. I'll be, bruised a little, but it's a good cocktail party story. No big deal, and everything's in slow motion in these moments. But then, as you noted, the car drove over me and then it reversed over me and then it went forward over me and I was pinned underneath the car. So, by that evening, that powerhouse was gone. I could not, walk or really see or think, move. My body was raw. And, although no bones were broken, which was miraculous, I was completely broken.
Oh my God, that's like, to feel so good, to feel on top of the world, because that's the feeling you gave me that you had that morning. You were feeling ready to do your day, and then to have, to get the little bump, get the first hit, and then that whole thing, and then three times be run over by the car. That I think your angels were working overtime to not make sure that there's no broken bones. So were you in the hospital then that evening? And
Yeah, so they had to lift the car off me. So I was under the car for about, 12 minutes and really everything while the car was driving over me was in slow motion. So I had those kind of end of life thoughts, reflecting on life. And then, eventually I thought, hey, I'm survived. And, that powerhouse tried to come out. I was saying things to my husband like, did you grab my purse? Is my phone okay? And I went to the hospital, I think still believing that that person was there. But slowly, I started realizing that I couldn't do anything. And what was interesting was that I went to the hospital to the emergency room, but because no bones were broken, I was never actually admitted to the hospital. So I went home the next day. They had to keep me in. I had some eye surgery and stitches and, a whole bunch of issues, but nothing they admitted me for. So I went home and it was interesting. I felt like because I went home, it couldn't have really been that bad. And I didn't deserve any help and that I should just be returning to the person I was. And that was, the first of many journeys and learnings and struggles.
Oh my God. I totally, yeah, could see how being in the hospital, being sent home. Okay, they said it's all good. Now I should be getting better. But they didn't identify the brain, right?
No,
What was
yeah,
it? The
the
traumatic brain
traumatic brain
injury.
injury, the soft tissue, it's so hard to identify and navigate. And that's taken weeks, actually years. I've been, finding things. So I went home and I actually didn't even know where to begin. I was a problem solver, I was a juggler and a planner, and I had no plan and I had no idea what my first steps to recovery would be. Luckily, a couple of things happened early on that really helped me take those steps forward that allowed me to navigate through that journey. And the first was my brother. I'm very close to my brother. He lost his dog. And, I all I could think of was how much I wanted to help my brother in his time of need.
Oh,
And, I say the light bulb didn't go off, but slowly I started to realize just like I wanted to help my brother, people wanted to help me because the accident didn't just happen to me. It happened to my husband who watched the whole thing, my kids, my friends, my community. And I had to figure out how to let them help me, let them, be part of my journey. The other thing that happened in those early weeks, I wasn't accepting help from friends, but my doctors and my husband convinced me to see a trauma therapist. And the trauma therapist talked to me about the art of kintsugi and golden mending. So taking a broken piece of pottery and gluing it back together with gold inlay, so you celebrate the cracks in the vase and the cracks in the journey. And I thought, what a great way and to help me reframe what's happened. Because these issues and these challenges, this moment is now part of my journey. It doesn't have to make me a victim. And so that gave me a way to start talking to people. And what was amazing and what makes me feel so lucky is that I started sharing with people, being more vulnerable, and built much closer and deeper relationships. Because when I shared, people shared back. When I shared, we could celebrate together.
yeah, I'm going to be sharing your story in my personal conversations, that's for sure. I think that's amazing. Lots of things ran through my mind while you were talking. Let me see if I can recall some of them. But one thing I want to say is, it's the being vulnerable piece, receiving help, same way you wanted to help your brother and be there for your brother because he was aching, he was hurting. And your family wanted to help you. And it's so true. Your family went through that with you, and they also experienced loss. And um, they 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 maybe not didn't experience the same end of life questions in the moment. Maybe your husband did, but that was huge. But I think that's the way that older people feel when it's time for us to help them, and they don't want our help, because they want to be able to do it themselves. Because again, that generation, they weren't taught how to be vulnerable. They were taught how to suck it up and get on with it and just do it yourself. Don't be vulnerable, and do
Yeah.
that. So I think that's one thing. But the other thing, would you agree with that?
Absolutely. In fact, I say that, so I call that learning, sort of finding the unbreakable, because I think letting people help and sharing the cracks in our journey is actually a dimension of strength, one that we don't collectively think about or talk about. But I really believe, because, sometimes I didn't need the help, but I knew they needed to help me.
Yeah, because that is what brings people together. It brings people together. So you already said it. I'm not going to be a victim in this,
Yeah.
but you already said that. And at the same time, you were being vulnerable to allow the help, to receive the help. And there's something so beautiful in that because it brings us together. Like you said, you have more deeper relationships now than you did before, and it does make great storytelling,
Yeah.
and great education too. But here's my next question. What I really want to know is when you were just end of life facing that, I thought it was interesting when you said, when you came out and you asked your husband, "Is my phone okay? Did you grab my purse?" That's so, yeah, right. That's so, um, but end of life. So like, what were you thinking about? What were those questions?
Yeah. So let me share that day and feeling that strong. I say that was my first transformation, hard won battle. I was a very insecure kid. Took me a long time to like who I was. And by the time this accident happened, finally felt good in my skin. I felt good about who I was, proud of the life I had built. And so I was, I was happy in that moment or happy in that life. So as the car was running over me, and it was really the second time the car ran over me that I thought something's not right, and I was sure I was dying. It was the end. I started thinking about my three kids. We're very close family, and I thought, oh, why didn't I write them letters? I would travel all the time for business. Always think I should write the kids letters. Never wrote them the letters, and I thought, why did I write the letters? But then I also thought, you know what? They know me. We've laughed when I'm with them. I'm present, and we've had so much fun and great vacations, and they know who I am. They know how much I love them, and I've had a great life, and I've had a lot of fun, and we've had so much fun, and I felt so good about that. But then I also realized they know, my kids know, but all the other people in my life that are so important to me, they don't know. I didn't tell them as much as I should have. I didn't, there were so many people that really had no idea how impactful they were, and I regretted that I wasn't more, open and effusive with all the people that I cared about. And so that's something that I have changed since then, is I really just try to appreciate all the time. I don't want anyone to know if they've made me feel good, let me celebrate that moment.
It's so good what you're saying. This is so good. I help right now, currently, I am helping a group of seniors write legacy letters to members in their family, people that are alive, people that have already passed on, writing legacy letters, because it's that part that you said, you were thinking about your daughters and you were thinking about, did I should have written the letters. I should have written the letters. It's because they're going to, even though they know that's all fine, but still write the letter. So if you haven't written the letter, I'll say to you, write the letter, because it's them reading the letter later, and whatever, that they're going to really, really, that's going to be their life-saving grace for their entire life, that letter. So I think that's wonderful. I'm just blown away by your story. There's more I want to ask you, but we are out of time. I want to let the audience know how they can look you up on social media and follow you there.
So, my website is naseemrochette.com, and my book, The Unexpected Benefits of Being Run Over, is available really anywhere books are sold, but on Amazon, you can get, the hard copy, the Kindle, and the Audible, which is me narrating it.
Oh, nice. I love that. And is there any social media handles that
Yes, I have a Nas Rocks on Instagram, NASROCS.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's awesome. What was my question? See if I still have it right there. What was it? Ooh, this was all so good.
Oh, thank you. I actually have a part of my book, what I call the sermon. It's the last part where, I talk about my journey, obviously, through the book, but in the end, I just try to share, here are the things that I've learned. And, many people have said that they go back to that often, as a reminder. I have to keep reminding myself of what I've learned.
No, I think this is a really big piece. I think you can do retreats on this. Doing retreats, inviting people to come and have their, experience and really bring them into the present moment that, if today was your last day,
Yeah.
The last moment. So, Naseem, I want to thank you so much for coming on today and inspiring us with your beautiful story. Here was the question. The question was, because you were such a, let's just say it, badass, prior to the accident, um, the lessons learned, did we discuss them?
So we discussed a few of them. There's so many.
Oh, there's so many. Okay, so there's more. Maybe we can have you come back in the future for a
I would
second
love to.
episode. Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
because I know that this was a big deal. Well, and then COVID happened, so I could talk to you, continue on talking to you, but I want to thank you for coming on the show. I wish you many blessings and much success with your mission, with what you're doing,
Oh,
inspiring people.
thank you
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you. We're going to take a break on the Kornelia Stephanie Show, everyone. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for listening and tuning into the Kornelia Stephanie Show. I'm so excited to get into part 2 of this segment. We have with us integral wellness consultant, author, and confidence coach Susan Axelrod. She's back here for part 2 of this discussion, integral wellness in life and business. And Susan Axelrod helps women rise with her whole life approach to intuitive business. A woman's intuition is not just a phrase. Susan helps women in business for themselves find their intuition space, get confident about service and structure, and grow the bottom line. Her confident life coaching is not just a business name for Susan, it's her true purpose. She spent more than a decade learning about and then creating her own online business and unabashedly shares her growing and crowning achievements and failures to help women rise in confidence. And there's so many things to say about Susan. It's like we don't have that kind of time because we want to give you guys the content and tell you what we're here to talk about. So, welcome to the show, Susan.
Thank you. I love sharing crowning achievements and failures, Cornelia. I love it. To tell you the truth, it is one of the foundations of integral wellness that we can show up honestly, show up authentically, and vulnerably share failures, not because they're actually failures, but so we can fail forward.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
This is actually part 2. Last time, which was 2 weeks ago. Nowadays, it feels like, 1 week is like, I don't know. It's hard to keep track of it all. But this is part 2. And in our last discussion, you said, Susan, that integral wellness supports the human inside the business, which also supports our bottom line. And so this is the discussion that we're continuing today. So before we get back into this integral wellness now, I want to thank you also. And I want to follow up on something that came up in our last discussion and the topic of how much coaches are needed today. And I even spoke with our first guest about this, how much coaches are needed today. So tell us, this week you've shared with us a free worksheet that's called How Do I Know If I Need a Coach? You designed that sheet, and this is going to be shared in the show notes, which I'm also inviting you, Susan, when you share it on the YouTube channel as well, that we put it there pin that in the top. So would you give us a brief,
Yeah.
about how you came up with this worksheet 6 years ago?
Yeah, Cornelia, when you speak, I listen. Honestly, I'm not, I mean, this. When you speak, I listen. I show up with you, for you, and I listen and I glean and absorb. And I also listen to your podcasts, that conversation in the last episode 2 weeks ago, with the person who lost her marriage at 46 years. She lost her business and overcame that. And you said, how did you do that? And she said, a coach. And so I thought about that since our last episode, and I decided that I would share something I created many years ago now called How Do I Know If I Need a Coach? It's a download on my website that you get. I created that worksheet 6 years ago. It's been tweaked a little bit since then as I've gone deeper as a coach myself. Because in the early days, I didn't know how to know if I needed a coach or how to find a coach. And so when it came up in a podcast with someone else, not me, and then it came up in our conversation, and you said, and she said, and we agreed, everyone could use a coach today in some way, shape, or form. I offered this 5-page, I call it a worksheet, because there's question, how do I know if I need a coach? There's my response to you, and then a thinking question with space for you to answer. So that's what this free worksheet is for your listeners and viewers, people who come find you to use and apply for themselves. And to tell you the truth, as you and I both know, having a coach and working with a coach, as both you and I have done, is again another foundation of being integrally well.
Well, and also I can't, this year it's such an important year of our time in 2025 of
Yeah.
up leveling to the next level. And with so much, confusion and everything going on in the outside world, having somebody to work with one-on-one is just there, it pulls you up to a higher standard. A coach is able to help you pull yourself up with the guidance that you receive in the coaching, because that's really where you want to be. So, I mean, that's why we have voice coaches. That's why we have singing coaches. That's why we have, sports coaches. So business coaches. And you are such a fantastic coach because you always bring all of your experience that you've had, but also asking those intuitive qualifying questions that you do, which is something that, a lot of people don't intuitively do, but you do. So one-on-one with you is amazing. We might as well bring this in here right now, and then we'll just go into our integral wellness conversation, but might as well. And that is the topic of, you also have an accountability group that you lead. And then why don't you tell us about that accountability group?
Yeah, thank you so much. I always appreciate the opportunity. I decided to offer an accountability group weekly, coming together in a safe and sacred space for you to get to things that are on your mind. Now, normally I have a theme, I have a topic, business, women in business, self-care, etc. This year, because just like you said before, Cornelia, when you speak, I listen. You just said of our times, that these times are difficult today. And so I'm offering a free accountability group. If you go to my website, whatwillyourlegacybe.com, right at the top, you can click on the link and you'll find the information. People are saying a lot, Cornelia, what can I do? What can I do? I'm depressed. I'm upset. I don't know what to do. I'm terrified. And I'm like, I know what you can do. You can come to my weekly group and get shit done.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we're showing the QR code as well on the screen. So we made it easier for you to be able to just, download that code, go check it out, and go to a live call with Susan. And I've been on many of her calls, and it's great. It really does help you get shit done. So Susan, let's pivot now and get back into our conversation of last 2 weeks. We talked about the intersection of integral wellness and business. And you said it's the human at the intersection that people need to be mentally well, and that the mindset muscle needs to be worked and strengthened to support workers being more confident, people that are at work to be productive in business. So today we're going to speak about emotional control. And since this is part 2 of the integral wellness and business success, please tell us about emotional control, what it is and why it's important.
Yeah, thank you so much. Emotional regulation, what I call emotional control, is the ability to exert control over one's own emotional state, also known as self-regulation. So there's a lot of research on self-regulation and emotional control. I looked up and found a research paper in the American Journal of Lifestyle Medicine, which is with the NIH and the National Library of Medicine. And it talked about self-regulatory processes, self-regulating processes. How well can you self-regulate when you are in difficulty, in distress, in anxiety, in worry, dysfunction, etc.? So last time we talked about mindset transformation, the mindset muscle. This time, part 2 of the formula we're developing here is your emotional state of being. This comes down to your own nervous system. The autonomic nervous system is in you. It's science. It's in all of us. There's 2 parts. One is the fight, flight, or freeze, and the other is rest, digest, and restore. And so, we're talking about life and business here, Kornelia. You keep saying to me, yeah, life is fraught these days. This is the topic of our times. And I say it is. And it significantly impacts how we show up in business. And boy, do we need to be functional and well in business today, Kornelia. And so emotional control is yours. It's yours. And if you don't have it, you feel ineffective. You feel in a bit of dysfunction. And we really need people to show up today like you are showing up here in this damn podcast, that you just show up, Kornelia. You just show up no matter what's happening. You have thousands of episodes. And I'm showing up as your guests and all your other people. We are functional, we are well, we are presenting ourselves in a whole way. So do you get what I'm talking about with that emotional control, Kornelia?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we should do about this, because I really want to go deeper, like give people examples of how, like talking about different examples of what it's like when a person is not in emotional control, showing the contrast and then showing what it's like when they are. But I know that we don't have time to do that, but we'll bring it into our next session, which is really nice because we can, you can think about different, I'm sure you already have.
Not only do I not have to think about it, Cornelia, I lived it. So right away, I won't take the time now, but I invite people to come back and stay tuned to this conversation. Cornelia just asked, us to consider, what does it feel like when you're not in emotional control, when you're lacking emotional control? And then what does it feel like when we're in emotional control? Cornelia, you and I, we are examples, the best examples of people, what do you call it? Walking the talk?
Yeah.
Talk. We walked. And that's actually how we got here. So in our next episode, I would love to start talking about examples of what it feels like when you lack emotional control and how you can get into your restored, emotionally controlled space.
That's so awesome. Let's tell the audience how they can look you up, your social media handles, and then Nat, if you would show that QR code one more time for Susan's accountability group as well.
Find me at whatwillyourlegacybe.com. That's my website. Right at the top, the QR code will send you there. Right at the top is the link to my accountability group. My YouTube channel is called The Confidence Zone with Susan Axelrod. And I am daily on LinkedIn and Facebook under my name, Susan Axelrod. Look for me and you will find thousands of videos of me sharing the wisdom that we have gleaned and gained.
Yeah, it's so good to have you, Susan. And thank you so much for coming on. And again, sharing that confidence, sharing that integral wellness and, your wisdom that you've gained and helped, many, many women across the board, including myself. Want to thank you and thank the audience for tuning in to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. And we'll see you again next week, everyone. Take good care. You've been listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Kornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Kornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at korneliastephanie.com.